Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to part 3 of making a prototype mask. In today's video we'll be installing all the electronics into the mask and wiring everything up. So make sure to watch to the end and get comfortable. Alright, let's go! In the previous video I mentioned that I wanted the head to rotate. I got the idea from Wicked Makers and their prototype animatronic. Definitely go check that out. Anyways, I took one of my DM996 servo motors, which can move up to 10 kilograms, so it will have good power and won't break that easily. This servo type is actually the one that I use in most of my animatronics, by the way. But before I'm going to put it into the mask, I wanted to test if it still works, and well, yes, it does. Right here I'm mounting on the servo to my servo holder thing that I modeled and printed in the last episode, if you haven't seen already. For easy work, I firstly glued the servo horn onto the servo holder and then screwed it down with some very small screws. Here I did the first rotation test to see if the servo holds up, and as you can see it worked really well. I don't hear any creaking or crunching, so that's pretty good. In order to wear the mask and mount the servo on, I need a helmet. For that I used my old bicycle helmet. I also plastic welded the servo horn onto the structure, just to be sure it's not going to go anywhere or break. The servo was a bit too wide in order to fit into the helmet, so I took my Dremel and made the gap wider. I also printed a small piece that's going to keep the servo in place. For good grip I took some fleece fabric and screwed it right onto the helmet. I was pushing a bit too hard when I screwed in the right side onto the helmet and it split a little. But that won't be a problem. And as you can see, the servo is screwed on very tight and isn't moving, which is perfect. The servo isn't going to fall out in the front, but I wanted to be sure that it won't fall out in the back. So I took some screws and a metal rod and installed them into the helmet. The metal rod will be installed inside the helmet, so in order to not hurt myself when wearing it, I took my soldering iron and carved a little hollow section into the styrofoam. Then I glued it in so it won't fall out. And here you can see my first test wearing the mask. I programmed the servo to rotate every 2 or 3 seconds. The mask is also pretty light, so I won't have any issues with my neck. For now. My Arduino Uno that I'll be using for this project needs a new protective casing. That's also the part that I'm going to screw onto the helmet. I downloaded the case file in Thingiverse, link to it is down in the description. The back of my helmet isn't smooth and I can't screw on the Arduino, so I took my Dremel again and began to smooth the back out. And after screwing the case on, I can just slide in the Arduino. Awesome. The prototype has one glowing eye in one of his eye sockets. Before I can install it though, I need to make the eye sockets. For that, I cut out some rectangular cardboard stripes and folded them. Then I glued them into a bowl-like shape with my hot glue gun and added more and more cardboard. For the back, I used some packaging tape and covered the whole back of the sockets in it. This will give the eye some more structure. The sockets themselves were covered with paper mache and painted with white acrylic paint. With an awl, I poked in a hole in one of the sockets. That's where the LED is going to sit in. I'm using a yellowish orange LED for his eye. Before I could install it though, I needed to solder the cables on. I glued the breadboard onto the helmet, that's where all the wires are going to connect with the Arduino. And here we have the LED. In order to connect it with the breadboard, I still needed to solder on some jumper wires. They are made to perfectly fit into the breadboard. And after hooking everything up and writing the code, we now have a glowing LED. For resistance, I used a 518 ohm resistor. We don't want our LED to short out. For a little test, I taped in the eyes with the LED, and as you can see, it's working properly. And that wraps everything up for part 3. I still want to use some more electronic stuff like some gyroscopes, so that the mask can rotate when I move my head. But I won't be doing that now. Anyways, if you liked this video and made it till the end, make sure to like and subscribe. It's just a click and free, but would help me a lot, because I still want to hit 5k subs this year. Alright, have a nice day and see you in the next video.